Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our latest masterclass, Mastering Consultations, the keys to maximising revenue and patient commitment. We have a very special speaker here, which I'll get into in a second. But just before we get into that, I'm Noel Tanner, the Senior Product Marketing Manager at RepeatMD. I would just do a little bit of housekeeping about the session, and then we'll get into it. First of all, yes, we've already had questions. This will be sent to you afterwards, so you can replay it back and make out all of the numbers of gold you're about to get. We also have a live chat, which you will see in the top right of your screen there, so you can chat between yourselves. Then we also have a Q&A tab there that you can put your questions into, and we will answer them throughout the session. And the other important part of the Q&A is that we will bring those questions to amazing moderator presenter, Terri, later on. So, yeah, please put your questions in there and we will cover them later on. For speaking, moving into our presenter, Terri Ross. I don't know if Terri needs much introduction here. She's an industry icon. She is someone who truly knows this space well and is focused on helping businesses succeed. She's a sales leader. She is a sales trainer, and just brings a wealth of business knowledge to this industry. So I will hand over to Terri now, and she will take you through this wonderful session, and we will see you later on to some Q&A at the back end.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm so excited to be here. I want to thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me and the RepeatMD team, and to thank you guys for actually just showing up. I know that you have a lot of choices. You're in the middle of a work day, but you showing up really allows me to understand that you are completely committed to the health and success of your business. I also want to thank RepeatMD for this amazing partnership and collaboration to talk about something that is absolutely foundational and fundamental to the success of your practice. And it's often candidly overlooked and it's undervalued. So I want to start off with a question. So if you guys can be super vocal in the chat, you know how I am. Give me a hell yes if you're super invested in growing your practice to become more efficient and more profitable. Give me a hell yeah in the chat. Yes, I love it. Stephanie, Franco, amazing. So I want to give you some thought-provoking question right now. What if I told you truly that your consultation process was either the greatest revenue generator for you or the biggest missed opportunity for you? So many practices treat the consultation like a transaction. They don't have a process. They're doing it to check a box. They're not really being forthcoming with their ability to ask good questions, which we're going to dive into. And I want to assure you that over the next 45 to 60 minutes, I am going to give you the tools, the framework, the foundation, the strategies, and the how to perfect the consultation in collaboration with RepeatMD and their amazing technology and software. So thank you, Noel, for the introduction. How many of you guys have heard me speak before? If you have, yes, you know my style. This presentation, though, is not about me. This time is not about me. But I do pride myself very much on letting you guys know that I've been in aesthetics for over 20 years. I worked in Fortune 500. I've led sales teams. I started my firm in 2012, and we are solely focused on sales training and helping practices understand the data, use the right systems and software to become more efficient and make money. And we'll get into that. But more importantly, I had a med spa in Beverly Hills that scaled and sold. Why do I share that? I've made the mistakes. I've been where you guys are at. So I fundamentally understand. And I want to assure you that my intention for you, again, over this time is to help you understand the why. I always start with this. I know it might be a little cheesy, but really, truly, why did you show up here tonight? What do you want for your practice? We're just getting into Q2. Do you want more time, more money? Robin, I get it. Growth, more freedom, more patience, more credentials. What is it that you fundamentally want? Because we have to stay true to the why. If we are just showing up here with the intentions to get off this webinar and do nothing, it's for nothing. Okay. And I'm going to ask you guys and challenge you and invite you. Look, I'm shutting my eyes because I'm so passionate about it, and really invite you. Haley, thanks, honey. Brianna, amazing feedback. Thank you guys. And really invite you to look at things differently. Okay. To recognize that there are experts for a reason. So if you could choose guesswork, hard work, or a framework, what would you choose? Put it in the chat. Okay. We're here to help you save time and money. And there's a reason for that. When we think about the consultation process, and I understand if there are providers, yes, honey, framework, no, amazing. If there are providers on this call, and I'm sure that there are many of you, I'm not here to judge. I'm sure you guys are phenomenal at your craft and what you do. And oftentimes we spend so much of our time and our effort and our money going to conferences to learn more techniques and better surgeries and how to do an injectable or a laser differently. And I appreciate that. But we have to give the credence of operating our business, because it is a business, the same level of care that you do your clinical techniques. And so when we think about the consultation, it truly is the number one revenue generator in your practice. You got to think about the external. We spend money to acquire a patient. Why? Why are they going to choose you over everyone else when we are living in a sea of commoditization and competition right now? Again, I'm in Los Angeles. In every corner, there's a place to go. So why are they going to choose you? And then if I come into your practice, what is that patient journey, which we're going to get into? What does that consultation look like? And more importantly, what are our conversions and our metrics and our retention and our revenue per hour and our treatment plan and all the things we're going to dive into today, which is critical. Think about this statistic. We talked about the consultation being the highest revenue generator, but look at what the facts are. 86% of people want a pre-op plan. 91% want a post-op plan. Less than 50% of us do it. Look, this is real, guys. These are real statistics in real numbers. And I have sat in on thousands of consultations. And this is why I'm going to be bullish and bold in what I believe in. If you guys can see me, my sales training, I mean, this manual, it's like college. And I wrote it. This is the 5th iteration because there is a formula. You guys all said you wanted the framework. You get how to master the consultation. Why? So that you can become the number one place people want to go to. You can have happy patients. You can have higher patient conversions. You can have increased revenue per hour. You can have higher patient retention, lifetime value. I gave you six reasons that you have to be like, hell yes, if I'm struggling with how to do this, okay? Because it's going to be the execution piece. You know, I would love the opportunity to work with you guys and we can talk about that. So why did I put this slide? There could be many of you on this call and you're like, I'm killing it. I'm crushing it. I'm hitting my goals. I'm super busy. And I hope that you are. But busy doesn't always mean being profitable, and doing things the same way, sort of, right? The definition of insanity. If using tools like RepeatMD or working with myself. Look, we are in this collaboration together in this partnership because it's not one without the other. I teach as a consultant, right? The how and the execution. They are a tool to pull that through. And so when we think about a mindset shift, I'm asking you to be open-minded to a new way of doing things and be vulnerable with me today, please. Because if you are struggling, if you're like, you know what, shit, I don't have a great process. And maybe I don't know these KPIs and I'm not doing a treatment plan, then it's an opportunity, you guys, while we're still early on in the year, an opportunity for you to recognize that you became an entrepreneur for a reason. You may be a provider, an owner, working in the practice, but you are part of growing the practice. So let's have an open mindset of a new way of doing things. Please put in the chat, be super honest. I want to love y'all. You guys are going to be my tribe. I hope many of you already on this call are part of my tribe. But how many of you actually, not sometimes, but use this KPI and track your conversion rates? Give me a yes or give me a no. And yes, many of you are saying yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, no. Eduardo, I'd love you. Thanks for being honest. Listen, I get it. There's two things that constantly come up in the space when it comes to challenges. It's actually three. One is culture and leadership. Two is the training, which is what I love to do. And three is the data and KPI. And that is a fact. And people sadly don't know what to track. I'm going to give you guys, literally, I'm going to give you so much information in this. Thank you so much, Whitney. Amazing. Thank you guys for being honest. I'm going to give you what these benchmarks should be. And at the end of this, you will have at least the framework, is what you said you guys wanted, and some of the tools necessary to go back literally tomorrow. Because when I asked you the why, I'm going to ask you 3, 2, 1, and I want you to write it down. What are 3 things that you want to learn from this presentation? 2 things that you can implement within the month. And what is 1 thing? It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be a lot of stuff. I want you to write down 1 thing that you can do literally tomorrow morning when you get in your practice that will have an exponential change on your business. What is the point of this? Mastering the art of the consultation means we have to be open-minded to selling. I'm going to ask you guys to think about it in a different way. While we are selling an experience, an outcome, a journey, results, yourself, your place, the patient, what you're really doing is educating them. Okay, I'm going to ask you to embrace that, because if many of you feel uncomfortable about what we're going to talk about, or the consultation isn't yielding you conversions, which I'm going to tell you what the metric should be. It's not yielding you the highest revenue per hour. It's patients are leaving and not coming back. We have to be open-minded, the mindset to say, why? Is the quality of my leads not great? Or is it an internal training issue that you can invest in to overcome and correct that? As we think about what it means to sell in aesthetics, and when I asked this question, I gave a 3-hour lecture recently at Medical Spa Show, and people often say negative words. But sales is what makes the world go round. Without your patients, without us going to a hotel or to buy a bag or a car, right, there would be no business. So what we're really doing is giving an active service. Patients have a problem. They're coming into your practice. They want what you have to offer. We have to look at it as a transfer of emotion. And I'm going to give you literally the exact questions to ask in the consultation that will allow you to get really deep with the clients. The problem is in the consultation, and as I mentioned, I've seen thousands. We stay very superficial. The consultation's too short. We don't have a process. Therefore, we're lacking getting the conversion rates that we want to. Companies that provide an emotional connection. Think about the brands that you resonate with, that you like. Why do you like them? How does it make you feel? 85% of companies that provide an emotional connection will outperform someone else. Because when we think about whatever the brand you are, if you have a Porsche and a Prius, do they get to the same place? Do they do the same thing? Yeah, I can get from A to B. What would I rather drive? I'd rather drive a Porsche. Now, whether I can afford it or not is a different story. But I think we have to recognize how people feel when they see your website, when they see your Instagram and your social media, when they see the person answering the phone, how they feel when they're using the tools and the apps that you have within your practice. That's an emotional connection. People often have said, and Phil and I laugh about this, people think working with a consultant is an expense, or getting technology such as, RepeatMD is an expense. Let me assure you that it is the greatest investment that you can possibly make that yields the highest return. Why? Well, as I said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that this collaboration with the technology and then the training go hand in hand. And it's not one without the other. There is a method and a process to do that. You just have to recognize, is it worth it for you? Because what we do is we tend to hire a team. They all have a role within the practice: your front desk, patient concierge, patient care coordinator, all of your providers, managers, owners. What KPIs are they held to? Are they trained in their role? And what are they yielding for you as an organization? And so training in any organization is the number one investment that you could possibly make. So how do we be open-minded, question our consultation process today, and say, you know what? You're right. I haven't put aside budget money for my team. But if you do improve this, and I'm going to give you some very clear statistics that you're going to be like, oh my God, you're going to improve your patient consultations to go up from what it is today. And I want to ask you, if you don't know it, I'm going to give you the equation in this presentation. If you do know it, again, are you happy with it? And is it yielding the results that you want? Because what it can do is increase that patient experience and help you reduce lost opportunities. I said I'd share some case studies. I'm very proud of this. This is, again, not to pat myself on the back. I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink. I can give you the framework that you guys said you wanted, but this is the value. These are two KOLs, key opinion leaders, plastic surgeons in Santa Rosa, 2 locations, sold their practice to private equity last year, but they grew 2.5 million. I don't know, you guys, I'm going to hear you in the chat. Give me a hell yes if you want to grow 2.5 million. Oh, hey, Cameron, you're in Santa Rosa. Listen, this is huge money, you guys. Hell yeah, this is no joke. This is factual. 2.5 million working with us. And how did they do that? Again, there's no magic wand, but there is a method. Julie has 3 locations in Idaho, 124% increased in her package sales. This is the power of training and the power of using these tools, you guys. Dr. Schultz, a plastic surgeon in Park City. Here's why I wanted to show this. He's a surgeon. That's where people make their bread and butter. With private equity coming in right now, what they care about is the diversification of services. While surgery is great, they want retail medicine. Look at the med spa revenue increase. This is huge, you guys, huge. So let's talk about it. If you are, and I want to say this, I asked a question on stage. I said, how many of you guys at Medical Spa Show went to the floor and bought stuff? And there were probably, I'll say, a good 30 to 40% raised their hand. Someone came up to me and said that they spent $500,000 in equipment. And she was in tears. Candidly, I was equally in tears. Why do I say that? Look, there's amazing people there and a lot of systems and resources and tools and technology that you need. But let me be very clear with love that the foundation and the health of your business is at the forefront, right? We cannot put the curtains in and the furniture if the floor's busted and cracked. Like, what I need you guys to do is say, okay, what is my business? What's my value proposition? Is my team trained? How am I compensating them? What systems do I have? Do I know how to work them? It's easy to say shit doesn't work, but we weren't trained on them, or we don't know the KPIs. So I want us to be open-minded, as I asked you earlier, to say, okay, I've been doing some of these things well, but I'm candidly struggling with some of these things. And that's how you guys look at just being open and vulnerable. That's how you guys are going to grow and hit these numbers like these practices have. So it's your revenue engine. And statistics show that when you master the consultation in the process, in the method, in the sales training piece, in the questioning skills, communication method, listening, objection handling, build the treatment plan, which is where RepeatMD, right? We've seen it a lot too. Yes, no, amazing. Where RepeatMD and their technology, and Justin's going to talk a little bit about that later, where I was super impressed. It just helps it pull it through because you can increase revenue exponentially. Look at this, up to $5,000, and then increase lifetime value. And I know it's the font is really small, but the average med spa sees 40 consults. If you increase your conversions from 50% to 80%, you guys, it's an extra $600,000 to the bottom line. That's why, do you see how passionate I am? My whole soul life's purpose, other than my family, is to help you guys recognize where those opportunities are. And what's the method? What's the process? Well, the process is, what are you marketing? What treatments yield the highest return? gross profit. What are you marketing? Where and to who? And then when they come in, what happens? We have to have intention to build rapport and trust. We have to use tools that we're going to get into to assess their needs. Set up, credential yourself. I'm Terri, I'm the nurse practitioner. We're going to be together for the next 45 minutes. My intention for you is, let's use language. How did that just sound? Like really amazing, right? Not a lot of people do that. We're going to use the tools that I'm going to show you in this presentation. We're going to ask questions, a series of questions. You're going to listen 80% of the time. We have to do less talking. It will almost diminish every objection, I promise you, and you will automatically increase conversion rates. I love this title. Consults don't inform, they transform. When we talk too much, we don't get to that emotional need. We don't get to the real reason why patients actually come in. More importantly, why are they there in the first place? Like, you have got to get to me. How badly does my problem bother me? How long? How invested am I in the outcome? How committed am I? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to spend? You have to make it really easy for me. You guys know how to educate, but we have to educate differently versus the consult's 15 minutes and it's a rushed thing. Then it is transactional. And then that's all it will ever be. And I'm not here to judge. I want you guys to really decide for yourself when I asked you the why. What kind of business and practice do you want to have? And there are many practices that want to see, high volume people for a low fee. That's fine. You do whatever is best for you. But I promise you that it is about less spending money in marketing, nurturing the ones you have, leveraging resources like myself and RepeatMD to build a treatment plan. Patients will have happier outcomes. And I promise you that most practices, if they haven't worked with me, they're not doing that. And so there's a lot of missed opportunity. And then patients have no loyalty to you. So they're just pop skipping around. So look at the difference. The most money, somebody asked me the other day, I've literally been on a roadshow since January 5th. I think I've done 8 on-site trainings and 4 virtual. And someone asked me, well, Terri, if I'm in consults all day, I'm not really making money. I hope to God you don't view it that way, because that time in the room that no one else sees or hears or knows is the most valuable time that you have. I hope to God that you guys are charging a fee. You are worth it. You have to. Nobody values anything for free. I don't have any sweat equity in there, but that time that we have together is the time that you can build me a plan that perhaps went from $300 to $3,000, if not more. So you're going to increase your conversions. You're going to build a plan that's going to get me the outcome I want, because I'm going to tell you that I want it. You're going to automatically increase retention and lifetime value, and then you're going to get more patient referrals. Common mistakes. It's everywhere. Whether it's someone's a startup, they've been in business for 30 years, the mistakes are that there is no process. And when I say that, if I asked you to hand it to me on a piece of paper, could you? That is consistent with continuity of care between your practice and your providers. So it's usually the time's too short. That's number one. And then there's no fee associated. That's the first one. Number 2 is dominating the conversation. I'm going to show you a layer model. I don't have enough time. When I do sales training, we get into it long and hard. It's a communication method I learned back in my corporate days, and we have to talk less. Okay. You lose patients by talking. 40% of patients are lost because we talk too much. So I want you to listen more. Then nurturing and the follow-up. There's fortune in the follow-up. I have a blog on this, a podcast on this. You must have automations in place, but you have to have the tools and the training with the ability to ask the questions. Objections are not a no, they're no right now. And it shows you didn't give enough value, but that means we didn't ask the right questions. That's 3, the nurturing and the follow-up. And then pricing. What happens is, because we don't have a process, we tend to throw up, we say too much, we give too many options, and then the patients don't want to do anything. So I want you to recognize that as the provider, it's your obligation. Thanks, Valerie. It's your obligation to educate, which means it's not your job to worry about what the patient can afford. That's not what you need to worry about. You need to worry about what kind of outcome they want, because you asked them how they feel. And I'm going to. Okay, what is the revenue impact? This is massive. So 52%, okay, by the way, that is the retention rates should be around 65%. They're low, okay? Conversion rates are low. They're roughly around 52%. Do you know what they should be? 70. The best practices are around 80. And I want you to look at the difference in revenue. Somebody at 50% conversion, 1.2, 80% conversion, almost double the revenue. 31% increase in conversion in 90 days. People say to me, Terri, can you guarantee? Look, there's no guarantee in anything, but I just showed you several case studies of practices that have grown exponentially. So yes, do you have the opportunity when you're willing, when I asked you the one thing, when you're willing to go back literally tomorrow and challenge yourself and say, you know what, shit, we don't have a process. We've been doing it this same old way. Sure, maybe it works. But I'm sharing with you, if I could make you 5 or 10% more, let alone 10x, would that be valuable to you? And of course, you guys would say yes. So we think about the framework. If there is no framework, you just have revenue depletion. I mean, it's sort of as simple as that. You can kind of look at the math of how much lost revenue is happening because there is no process. Maybe take a picture of this, you guys. This is a framework, and we're going to get into some of the tools shortly. But when I said to map out your process, this is what I want you to map out. Do you have tools like a cosmetic interest questionnaire, a skincare regimen, a treatment plan? What happens when I call? The web leads? What happens when I come into the practice? Are we asking the right questions? Are we handling the objections? Do I have a tangible treatment plan? I'm going to show you that. And then what's the pull through process? So let's challenge each component here. Maybe some of you guys are doing some well, maybe some not. It's okay. I want you to perfect all of them. The layer method. You guys, my first sales job, I worked for Ethicon Endo, which was a division of Johnson & Johnson, selling radioactive seeds to people with prostate cancer. Yeah, struggle with the follow-up. Judy, thank you, honey. I know. Let's work together. I'm going to show you how to do that. But look, this is listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond. I promise you, I've studied this my whole life. I don't want to age myself, but I've had that job in my 20s, for God's sake. And with your family, your kids, your friends, I promise you, it really opens a door of opportunity to acknowledge. I know us women, we like to feel heard, and often we don't. And what happens is people listen and respond. We do. And like I said, I've often cut people off in the consult. I'm like, stop talking too much. You're throwing up. You've given too many things. Like, you could do this plan or this Botox and this filler. And what about this laser and this thing? And then they won't do anything. A confused mind won't buy. So we have to get down. Look at number 2. You're going to use this model to build trust. It's going to uncover the why, because you're actually listening with intention, not listen to talk. Not listen to give, you know what to do. You know what they need. I want you to take a minute, right? The acknowledging is really, hey, Stacy, love you, honey, for showing up. The acknowledging is letting them know that you're validating their feelings. Thanks for sharing. I can appreciate that you've had a baby and you're feeling, the loose skin on your stomach, and you're feeling not confident in a bikini, and you're going on vacation. I haven't even gotten to the questions, but do you see what I'm doing? I'm repeating it back, because these are the reasons your patients are going to say yes, but only if you get them to tell you how they feel. And this is the only way, you guys, this method. Take a second. Scan this code. Stacy, there's people that have been my clients for a really long time. This is proven, you guys. When I had my med spa for 5 years, I wrote the sales training, my 5th iteration of this. I promise you, I would never lie about something this serious. And I'll show you a case study in a second. Scan this code. There are 11 key questions. Okay. 11. I'm just giving you sorry for the numbers. I'm giving you 4 of them. But when I said that sales is a transfer of emotions, that's all it is. I'm going to buy something. Why? How it makes me feel, status, needs, FOMO. I want to be more confident. Look at, and when I challenge people, when I train, and I'll ask providers, what do you ask? I promise you, out of the 11, most people say 4. And they say they don't ask the feelings questions. How long have you been feeling this way? How does this concern affect your life, your confidence? How's it impacted your relationships? You guys, this is serious. What happened? Did we just change the dynamic of the consultation so that that patient feels heard, listened to, acknowledged? Now, what did I do? I was vulnerable. I'm telling you about how I truly feel, which will allow you to open up the doors to build this treatment plan. Let me show you the power of this. It uncovers the motivators. You guys have got to understand why. How long have I been feeling that? When did I have a baby? 6 months ago, 2 years ago? Have I tried diet and exercise? Have I went somewhere else for other treatments? Was I compliant? Was I not? Do I hop, skip, and jump around to different locations? What am I willing to spend? How bad do I want to go to Cabo and feel confident in my bikini? You got to get there. Okay. It's never going to work. We're always going to be stuck in this transactional consultation. You just will. I've been doing this for 22 years. I'm so blessed to teach all over the world. And this is the power that you build such a different connection with people that they have no desire to go someplace else. I was really proud to share this with you. I was asked to go to South Africa last year to go to Skin Renewal. They have 22 locations all over South Africa. I spent 2.5 weeks there training over 120 people. And this is the power if you can read this. I was quite nervous and skeptical about the questions Terri told me to ask, but I decided to give it a try. I've been trying it on my new and my old patients, and I must say that I'm astounded by the results. So much more buy-in from the patients rather than doing one or two things. And this is a real, this is the stuff that you guys, this is why I show up here for you today, why I do what I do, because this is the power and the intention and the results that it can transform for you. People don't buy things. I'm not buying the boob job, the Botox, the laser. I'm not buying that. I'm buying how it makes me feel. I'm buying the result. That's what I'm buying. And you have got to close the gap in the consultation, which is why you need adequate time, 30 minutes if you are a master at it, 45, no longer than that, because now you're just being inefficient. And then using these methods that I'm giving you today. So let's dive into the fun stuff now. Let's dive into what it means for you revenue-wise. Okay. So it's one thing I hope I've really conveyed to you, that you are going to elevate the type of practice you are, the journey, the experience, how patients are going to feel about you in the room, build loyalty, build retention. That's what you need. Not people coming, going, not coming back. Your retention's low, revenue per hour is low. I'm going to give you those numbers. That is not a sustainable business. You're not going to get very far. I really impress upon that you won't get very far, but you will with this model. Why do treatment plans matter? Look, if somebody came in for fine lines and wrinkles, but you noticed they had pores, tone, texture, laxity, whatever, if your obligation as a provider is to do the right thing, right? It's just to do the right thing. That's all I'm asking you to do. But, they're like, well, I only want like my 20 units and I only can afford one syringe. Look, this is where RepeatMD and their technology comes in place, but the affordability is not on you. But if you believe it's the right thing to do to educate the patient on what they need, because you're going to ask me how bad it bothers me. And if I tell you that I feel old and I don't like the wrinkles around my eyes and my skin saggy and I'm divorced, see, you got to get this stuff out of me. You got to get this out of me. Pretty soon, you're going to be able to build that entire treatment plan. And it's going to have an exponential change. This is why treatment plans matter. Symptomatically, if you just go ahead and do one syringe and my 20 units, am I going to be happy? Maybe for a minute. Am I going to return? I might not. So I might just go someplace else. And would I wonder why you didn't tell me about everything else? That's the difference. And for anybody on this call and chime in, put it in the chat. If you feel uncomfortable, if it feels salesy, I want to be able to train you that it's not, right? That you have an obligation and these patients want what you have. They want this result. So let's talk about the tools. This is super powerful, guys. How many of you guys use a CIQ, a concerns questionnaire, cosmetic interest questionnaire? Put it in the chat. If you don't, it is a must. It's a must. Why? It opens up Robin Amazing. Cameron, no, I want you guys to get it. Call me, DM me after, whatever. It's critical. Why? It opens up the doors to a conversation about other treatments that you offer without you feeling salesy. Here's what happens. It's thrown by the wayside. It's not in the software. It's not in the app. And it's never talked about again. This is not meant for that. Okay. It's meant do you know what % of patients actually said they didn't know practices offered other things? 45%. That is huge, you guys. Why? We have to just be honest and say, well, shit, maybe I'm not doing it as well as I could. Or maybe these tools I have are just being thrown by the wayside. Then next is a skincare regimen. Okay. We all look at, especially us women, we like to touch and feel and hold. We are in the aesthetic business. This also just gives you more value and makes you stand out. You're going to give me a new patient packet when you walk in the door, when the patients walk in the door. So I'm not sitting looking at my Instagram and stuff that doesn't matter. Give me something I can value and take home. And then this is the beautiful, you see how beautifully designed it is. It's a treatment plan with the services you offer, what it is, how it works, the frequency, the cost. Now this is the tangible document. We're going to get into all the features that RepeatMD has put in their app, which is why I'm here. This is incredible. It's an incredible opportunity to now close the gap with what I believe in, okay, and what you guys all must do. And now there is a resource and a tool and a system that you can use to do it better and faster. And this is just so impactful. Now let's get into, why are we even here? Why does this even matter? Look, I wouldn't be here if this was just an exercise of futility. I want you to look at the difference in revenue to a practice. This is a surgeon client of mine in Jersey. Look, he can do a face and a neck lift, $8 a month. Look at the face and neck lift by itself, 20 grand. Okay. So 20 times 8, that's fine. 160,000. Are you good with that? Maybe, maybe not. So if we're not protecting the investment of the surgery, shame on us that we didn't talk about something. So during the sales training, I'm like, where is your pre-op and post-op plan? And just by believing that his patients need these other products to support and augment the surgery, that's another 312,000 to the bottom line. Yes? Hell yes. I don't know about you. This is how simple it really kind of is to exponentially increase the revenue in your practice and have happier people, a better outcome. Again, higher revenue, higher retention, higher loyalty. Let's keep going. Skin rejuvenation, huge. How can we do a laser or microneedling or RF or whatever it is that we're doing? Okay. When I had Lasky, I had the med spa in Beverly Hills. It's sold to Skin Spirit. And no joke, there were 350 people all doing the same thing. How was I going to stand out? I was not willing to reduce my fees because this is still medicine. We're not in the discounting business. We're in the business to give solutions, to give results, and to provide value. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to add on an LED light and a hydrating mask. Why? Reduces inflammation, reduces redness. Patients got exposed to it. They started on a retinol and an antioxidant 2 weeks before. They came in, post the laser for a hydrofacial. Not optional. You guys, I want you to use words. It's not optional. If you choose to get treatment, right, with ABC Aesthetics, the protocol is. See, I give you language to use and you're like, oh shit, that sounds amazing. Well, I really can't nickel and dime her or deviate from what he or she said. And then put me on an LED light series. Now what happened? I don't know about you guys. I want you to look. 837 grand. This is almost $1 million. And you didn't spend 1 more cent in marketing. You didn't get more people to come in the door. No, you changed your mindset to say, you know what? I haven't been doing this. I'm going to look at my current revenue per hour. If it's below where Terri tells me it needs to be, I need help. Okay. I need help. I'm not doing it because there are amazing tools and resources, but that is not the magic. That is the pull through. But if you don't know how to do it, let us teach you how, and let's use the systems to be able to do it. I don't think I have to continue to impress upon you guys. Why does it matter? I hope I've given you so much value, but this is it. It's very simple. You have a brick and mortar, you have rooms, you have staff, you have equipment, you have overhead, you have cost of goods, you have labor, you have a lot of stuff to pay for. I don't want you to be wasting money in marketing. Yes, it's important, but I want you to know what you're marketing to or who you're marketing to, your avatar. What verticals are they coming in at? What time? Is your team trained? On the phone, inquiry to consult to close? Do you have call tracking? Do you listen? Do you know what the benchmark should be? Is each person in your practice held to a KPI? And if they're not, they need to be. Otherwise, whatever revenue you're making, I don't know, maybe it's great. Maybe it could be $3 million more. That's where we come in and show you how, because this is the power. This is the power of treatment planning and all those case studies I showed you. This is the power of what it can do for you. It's automatically happy people, more money, better outcomes, more retention, more value, more lifetime value, more revenue, more profit. Okay. We want profit. Revenue doesn't really matter if we're doing the wrong things. Like I said, I often hear, well, Terri, we're super busy. Great. Being busy doesn't mean being profitable. Are you yielding the right services? Oh my God. And so here's the great stuff. RepeatMD. Look, I've known Phil and many of the team for a really long time. I got Justin, the man here, the product manager who's built a lot of these features. And this is like no joke. I preach this, I teach it, I live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. And they have some amazing features. And what they've built is custom plans, okay, that can turn your consultations into higher revenue generating moments. And this is facts because I'm asking like the numbers. And then they're beauty bay, looking at long-term loyalty and shifting maybe the mentality of people maybe not able to afford something, but banking the dollars within the platform that allows it easy for you guys to do. So with that said, I am going to turn it over now to Justin, who's going to dive a little bit deeper into these features and benefits, and then I will be back at you.
All right. Thanks, Terri. Well, I've had to follow up on some pretty hard acts to follow in my time, but following up Terri Ross is going to be a difficult one. I'm super grateful to be here and very excited to talk to you guys about these features. Like Terri said, a lot of your consultation is going to be about the process, but really at RepeatMD, we're here just to give you the tools to make it easier, right? And so the first one that we're going to look at today is our custom plans feature, which is designed for the consultation, right? We call this the ultimate consultation tool, and it allows you to create personalized treatment plans and text them directly to your patients. And that's any patients too. That's not just the patients that have signed up for your RepeatMD app. It can be anyone. So you create the plan, you text it directly to their phone, which they can buy or finance with a firm directly while they're still in the consultation room or once they've left. So you choose what treatments, products, services are included. You set the price. You have all the control with the tool. And you also get to choose how long the patient has to buy it. So you heard Terri mention FOMO, things of that nature earlier on. This is just another way to help drive that conversion for you. So you set the expiration, and then RepeatMD sends automated text messages to keep that treatment plan front of mind for your patient. So that's custom plans. I think Noel's going to send a link in here if you do want to learn more about it. Existing RepeatMD clients, this tool is already available to you, and no additional cost. So if you're not using it, definitely recommend using it because, like Terri, I am also a big numbers person. And the 6 months that this feature has been available, it's generated over $10 million in revenue. Of those plans that have been sold, 80% have been financed with a firm. So that's a massive piece, right? Driving accessibility for your patients. Those Affirm plans, average value just under $3,000. And while that's the average value with a firm, we've also seen plans sold at $30,000. So it's definitely working. People are liking it and they're buying it. 9 out of 10 of those patients that have received one of these treatment plans purchase it before they even leave the consultation room. So within an hour, they're already buying this. But the other great thing about this feature is actually lets you extend that timeline out, right? If you don't sell them during the consultation, maybe they're not amenable to your follow-up. We're handling that for you with automated text messages. And as you can see, we've had plans that have been sold 70 days after they've been created. So, if me talking about it wasn't good enough, hopefully these stats resonate with you a little bit more there. But that is custom plans. Again, we'll have a link for that if you want to learn more about it. And then the next thing I want to talk about is in-app beauty bank memberships. So, Justin, this is about consultations. What does memberships have to do with it? Especially if you saw our masterclass, I believe, last month, all about memberships. If you offer memberships, you should absolutely be talking about them during your consultation, right? Like Terri mentioned, you don't want these patients just come in, get, something small like a filler, Botox, something like that. You want to keep them coming back and spending more money with you. So in-app memberships, we already have a lot of, masterclasses, recordings about the value of those items, but we do have a new beauty bank feature available in our memberships. And this is just going to help you create that predictable monthly recurring revenue. But the beauty bank, if you're not familiar with it, really it's kind of like a savings plan, a flexible savings option for your patients that allows them to purchase the membership, and then they receive credits or repeat cash that they get to use towards treatments in the app or in your practice as they continue on the membership. So they save up this money to buy those bigger ticket items that they may not be able to afford right off the bat, or they're not comfortable spending that amount of money at once. Maybe they're not great candidates for financing. They get to bank this money over time and then spend it on that high ticket treatment that they want. So again, drives accessibility, and that's just on the beauty bank part. With our memberships, you can also set up membership pricing. Again, we don't want to do discounts, but membership pricing, that's a different, right? That's exclusivity. That's driving value with those members who are already your most loyal, most valuable patients. So that's beauty bank memberships there. We've got a link to learn more about that. And if you are a current RepeatMD client, you have memberships, you're interested in this beauty bank stuff I've been talking about, go ahead and scan this QR code, and we're happy to help you get this set up. So you don't have memberships and you want them, we'll do that for you. You already have memberships, they need a facelift, we've got you there. Just go ahead and scan that or click the link and we'll get you set up there. So that's all I had. I'm going to give it back to Terri here. Terri, thank you so much.
Oh my God. Thank you, Justin. Listen, I don't know about you. I get super excited. This stuff tickles me pink, because I often hear, again, patients can't afford it. That's not what they're willing to do. That's not what they're willing to spend. And you guys, that's just not true. It's not true. And, there's a lot of noise out in the space and a lot of things to buy. And when I mentioned that client said they bought 400, grand worth of equipment, and then people are buying systems that they don't need or don't know how to use. I'm equally, again, being here with you for this last 50 minutes has been so inspirational for me, and recognizing how this collaboration between RepeatMD and what they can do for you to help you. It's really a tool, you guys. I'm here to help you with the why and the how to build your business and make it efficient. I'm not the tool to be able to do that. And so let's dive in now to the data. As I mentioned, there are 3 main issues that the industry faces, and let's be honest, we are, I did a report, I do a lot of research, and we've worked with clients. So we compiled the data, and the business, while it's growing, it's down. And whether it's, the economy, patients are not spending as much. They have too many choices. They're not coming in as frequently. So I got messages today, and we can't just think that that's okay, right? We can't go, oh my God, I better go spend another, 10 grand a month or whatever it is in marketing. I better go try to get new people. I mean, come on. Look, we have to really be honest and say, let me go back tomorrow. If one of the things I'm going to ask you to do, I am going to ask you, if you know some of these KPIs I'm going to give you, and I'm going to challenge you. If you don't, please DM me, call me, reach out. I'm going to give you a code to scan. Are you doing these treatment plans? If you currently are a customer of RepeatMD, are you using it to its fullest capacity? And if you're not, how can you use us both, right, to get the results that I've showed you that you could possibly get? So let's hear. I don't really give these away. When we work with a practice and they sign with us, the first thing we do is audit the business. It's literally like you going to get lab work. We can't be sick and not know what's wrong. And many of you may intuitively know, but when we audit your business, we do a deep dive, we pick it apart, we find every area of opportunity. I never say what's wrong. And we write you a formal business report of all of the ways that you can grow. And we work with you on how to improve that. And one area is a huge mistake by a lot of people is that they don't understand what the gross profit should be. So what happens is they do memberships and then the memberships don't make money and they don't know why. Well, because if they did the membership, they didn't look at that it's the service, it's the cost of goods, it's the time, all right? So it's the service, what you charge the patient, cost of goods, time. Now, that's gross profit. Look at what it should be. Over 60, 70%. Now, why? You didn't pay me or your provider to do it. What happens is when we pay labor and then we reduce the price, I promise you the majority of the time I look at these, people are losing money and they don't know why. Okay, so I don't want you to do that. I want you to look at these ratios, and that's where you need to be when you're working and building a membership plan. Revenue per hour. When I showed that Paco and Heather Canales, both famous plastic surgeons, grew 2.5 million. Okay, they had 8 providers. Well, the providers didn't even know their revenue per hour. Okay, so I want you to go back. I want you to go check. I'm going to give you what they should be. Take a certain time. Take Q1. Okay, take the revenue somebody made divided by the hours that they worked. That's your baseline revenue per hour. If it's not where it needs to be, you got room to move, which means they're not. Look, we have to figure out why. Is it a training issue? Everybody could be better, you guys. I started my own conference, which is literally this weekend, the 4S Summit. It's this weekend in LA. Why? Because I care so much about closing the gap about the business of aesthetics that going to conferences and talking for 20 minutes doesn't really help people, not theoretically, but like help give you the resources and the training and the tactical how to. So look at revenue per hour, okay? Then you have to look at your productive revenue per hour. When you're in the room making money, how much is that? These are the industry standard benchmarks. Okay, super important. Your chart of accounts, the way it looks, but surgeons should make 3 to 4 grand an hour, if not more. A doctor doing non-surgical services, look at, and this should be exponential. If you're doing treatment plans, it's very easy to get in the 2s and the 3s. When you're doing, maybe you're doing a Halo and then a Moxie, and then you're going to do some Botox. I don't care what you do. We can stack. If people need these treatments, extenders, NPs, PAs, 800 to 1200 in RN, estheticians, I'm in LA, they can barely wash your face. So in certain states, they can do medical procedures. You guys, you have to know these things. So when I ask clients, do you have goals? They're like, yeah. How did you come up with them? I don't know. It's just 10 or 20% over last year. Goals by provider? No. Like we can't function like that. If you have a desire, so when I asked you your why, we help practices get ready to sell, whether you're ready now or in 10 years from now. I need to get your books clean and your training and your culture and your team and your data and your finances right. So you have a sustainable business and you're not in a position where COVID pushed us, or maybe even now, right? You're like, oh God, I'm struggling. I don't want you guys to struggle. So this is the opportunity to move the needle and invest in overcoming these. Our conversions, we have to look at the web leads, the online leads, the social media leads, the phone call tracking. Who's coming in? 70%. If I come in the practice and you guys master the consultation, above 70%. If it's below it, what do we need? The number one thing, we need training. Okay, we need training. while the systems around it, your website, your CRM, your phone call tracking, your whatever it is, right? Systems are great. They're only great if you know how to use them, if you're tracking to it, and you're holding yourself accountable to benchmarks. Otherwise, it's very simple to say, God, I have all this shit. I've bought all this stuff, or you don't have it at all. And then that's not efficient either. Okay. So again, the purpose today was so many things, but our company's coming together because it's such a symbiotic thing. If you look at the benchmarks of practices, people underperforming are below that 50%. If you can see in the growth mode, you're steady at the 70 and the top performers are at 80. And it's only because, you guys, when I said challenge yourself in the process, you have to decide. Do you want a mediocre practice, or do you want literally that you're not willing to accept mediocrity, that you are like, hell no, I'm in this business. It's my life's work. You have a desire to sell at some point in time, and you are willing to invest in it. Like, we have to truly forget everything else, right? If putting money into something that can help you exponentially grow. Oh, I love your passion, Robin. You guys are so great. I love y'all so much. We don't need to beat a dead horse. We know, again, if it's under 50%, we have to just start to see, here's what's great about the why. If you're below, no harm, no foul, no shame. But this is why I have a job and I love y'all so much. But we can start to uncover the why. Lack of process, provider confidence, training, not doing the treatment plan. Like, what is the reason? Okay, let's uncover the reason. How can we optimize it? We talked about that. Justin did a phenomenal job going through some of the new features and benefits, which are amazing. How do we use the tool in the consultation? I've given you the method, the layer model. Okay, the questions. I gave you the questions. If you're stuck, right, I want you to call me. Let's work together, but let's optimize our consultation process. Okay, let's go home. I want you to map it out, literally map it out, find the holes, find what's working, find what's not. Figure out the actionable steps that you can take right away. Be honest about it. And it can't be, I don't have any money. This seems so expensive. Oh my God. I'm not expensive. Okay. I or myself, RepeatMD, like we are the resources that are going to give you the power, right? And the training to help you uncover things and kind of hold your hand. You know, I kind of said earlier, framework, hard work, guesswork. I would rather work with somebody who could get me further faster, because the only thing that we're doing is selling time. Okay. So I don't know about you. I don't think anybody has time to waste to try to hope and get there, versus thinking about what we could do today to have a different outcome. The consultations, you guys, it is the impact, it's the growth, it is really the greatest thing that you can do in your practice, for your patients, for that experience. And again, nobody knows. So nobody knows what's happening. I do invite you, go listen, go sit in on other people's consults. If you're an owner or a manager, go listen. When you pull it out, go make sure you have tools. If you don't, get them. Or you're going to use RepeatMD's amazing app. Now, and then you're going to check the process. Like, did they buy the membership? Did they beauty bank the thing? Is the revenue per hour where Terri said it needed to be? See, this is the power of training. This is the power that will allow you to make an informed decision, not guess, make decisions that will have an impact on your business. So we have to master this, what we've learned today. We have to go back, acknowledge if you're weak. I know data sucks for some people. I want it to be sexy for you. I want you to be like, oh my God, I cannot wait to just dig into the data, because the data tells you information. And then work with experts. So we are coming to the end, wrapping up with Q&A. I don't know about you guys. I think there's going to be access to the recording for everybody that has joined or that is registered for this. Oh, Tanner, I'm going to leave it for you, honey. Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. So first of all, I'll just go back a couple of slides. I was taking some notes as you guys were speaking, Terri, and I was going to try and highlight a couple of things that I thought were amazing, and there was just too many. So your energy and your passion for genuinely helping businesses succeed is incredible. And I just love your your ethos on building trust and rapport and that emotional connection with your patient before you get to, that why before you get to the what, right? And I think for me, that really landed heavily. And then Justin, thank you so much for jumping in. You and I work together every day, and your passion for building features and products within our RepeatMD ecosystem that truly are there to help practices succeed in what is a complicated space and a tough space to be successful in. I commend you on what you build, and thank you so much for coming on. It was super valuable. So yeah, we're at time, but I'm going to say we're going to do Q&A with Terri now. So if you can stay on for another 10 or 15 minutes, we'll do Q&A. There's some great questions here. I can't wait to throw at Terri and see what she has to say. And then I will just do a little bit of housekeeping before we move into Q&A. So if you are already a RepeatMD partner and you work with us already, this will be available to you with all of our past masterclasses in your admin panel. You can find it there. The next piece is we have some great masterclasses coming up soon. Hard act to follow after Terri, no question there. But we have Dr. Amanda Holden, who is really passionate about staff training and helping your teams thrive. Chris Balby, if you don't know Chris Balby, he is a force of nature. He is so passionate about marketing and promotions and building growth in your med spa and aesthetic businesses. And then we have Lisa Krause, who, again, is a really passionate person, and she's all about that team dynamic within your business. So we have those coming up. Again, if you are a current partner of ours, do not forget to opt into our Mother's Day promotions, which is coming up in a few weeks. This is probably our second biggest promotion of the year. We have seen partners do 6 figures in a day with these campaigns that we run. So it's as simple as opting in. If you're a partner, scan the QR code, opt in. If you need a reminder for what we do for these campaigns, we do all of the text messaging. We do all of everything within your app. We do all of the promotions. Honestly, all you need to do is opt in and generate the revenue. So it's a great way for you to really level up like your first half of the year and maybe catch up on your organizational revenue that you're looking to do. Next slide is if you want to connect with Terri, everything that you need to know is on this slide. Scan the QR code and you'll be able to connect with her. Her services are invaluable. She said it a few times. She's not expensive. Truly, we do not think she's expensive either. So you can change your business. But you need to do the work. This is the other part of it, right? Like you sign up for RepeatMD, you sign up for working with Terri. We give you the guidance to make us a success, your business a success. But they are fantastic frameworks and guardrails for you to work from. So now I will move into some Q&A, Terri, if you're up for it. Some of these questions are pretty cool. I think one of the ones that we got a few times, and I think is actually really relevant, is the question actually posted is, what about making it 60 minutes for a consult and integrate a treatment? And I read that and I think, wow, are you trying to combine two things? Should a consult be standalone? How long should a consult be? And what's your thoughts on, are they bundled, or do you really separate them to maximize success?
Oh my God. I love this question. Whoever asked it, thank you so much. And I'm going to be bold in my statement because I've done this for too long and I've seen it every which way but loose. So if I'm going to ask it back to you. When you think about whatever practice management software you're using, your treatments yield a certain time, right? So if Botox is 15, fillers are 30, whatever it is, your lasers or whatever. So people always ask me, Terri, what software do I get? I'm going to answer the question, Tanner. The software is only going to be as good as you know how to work it. So if you do a consultation, but you've never seen me before, you don't know what I need. I could have said that I wanted fillers. Do I need 1 syringe or do I need 5? You know what I mean? So doing treatments the same day, I think, is an absolute no-no, and I'm very bold about that. Why? Because one, you're going to be very inefficient with time. You don't know what the client needs, and then I think people self-diagnosing is also a problem too. I want you to really think that what I hope I impressed upon today, that the value of when the doors are shut and that trust and rapport that you build to build a plan with them for them long term is the most valuable thing you can do. And I promise you, I've done this and I sold a business. They value it too, versus feeling rushed, right? Trying to do a consult in 20 or 30 minutes and then do a treatment doesn't really work. So.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, another great question. What do you recommend charging for a consult? Because we did mention it earlier, and I guess it's also somewhat geographically dependent, but do you have a framework or a recommendation for that?
Yeah, no, I do. I see Franco, I see Majid. Thank you guys. Look, I've tested it a million ways, and I'm going to speak differently. So for a med spa, and no matter where you are, you guys, I'm in Beverly Hills, and people would think, oh, they're willing to pay. It doesn't matter if it's Kentucky. Like I said, I was just in South. It doesn't matter. I have clients in Nigeria. It's all the same. I've tested 50, 75, 100, applied, not applied. The sweet spot for a med spa, non-surgical, whether even if it's integrative wellness, okay, is around 50 to 75. Applied. So when someone's just value propositioning you on the phone, what you can expect when you come to ABC Aesthetics is you're going to be meeting with Noel. You're going to credential the provider. It's a 45-minute consultation. That'll be $75, right, to hold your spot. Should you need to cancel, like there's whole verbiage on how to do that, and that protects the investment. So I think that is a good. Now listen, if an esthetician, that can be around 50, and if you're a doctor or a surgeon, it's usually over 100. And I promise you guys, there's a book, I preach about it all the time. It's called Someone Has to Be the Most Expensive. Why not let it be you? Please go buy it. It has changed the trajectory. You could call half of my clients that have said, oh my God, Terri, I was scared to charge. Nobody else does. I don't want you to be like everyone else. Be different. People are going to perceive that as higher value.
Got it. I've seen a question similar to this come in a couple of times, and I'm also interested in your response. How do you approach the situation where you need to navigate changes in the initial treatment plan if the patient results aren't what you intended, or if they don't meet the patient expectations after part 1, 2, or even 5? What's your recommendation on something like that?
Say that again, Noel.
So essentially, if your initial consult hasn't quite delivered the results that the patient was hoping for, how do you navigate that? Maybe in like the second consult, but do you have a process that you like re-engage or reconnect or reassess?
So if they weren't happy with the results.
Yep.
Well, so I'm going to go back to, and I showed you guys my manual, the sales training. It's thick, right? I'm going to go back to the purpose of why I showed those questions. Unhappy people aren't happy for a reason. Now, whether it's false expectations, we didn't qualify them up front, right, on the phone, like maybe they're the wrong people sitting in your chair. But if you follow the questions that I told you to ask, you're going to have to do two things. One, intuitively identify. See, we also teach personality types. Who are you talking to, right? What's their personality type? And are they a qualified person to come in? And are they going to be a happy person? Maybe some people are just going to intentionally, not be happy. But if you've gotten to all those emotional questions, and then that's the treatment plan that you believe is the right thing to do, it will probably diffuse that. Unhappy people had a false expectation, and it's probably because of what we didn't ask or didn't do.
Got it. I've got some other questions here. I'm just trying to see which one is relevant. There's a very cool question here. I don't know if we can get it done in the time. Brittany asks, could you perform a role play of a consultation process and provide a script? Brittany, great question. I don't think we've got bandwidth to do it today, but I think maybe we can do it in the future. So just so everyone's still online. Terri will be back with us. This is not a one and done. She is now part of our masterclass series. She will be back for more, and we can certainly try to bring some of that into future sessions. I do have you shared a heap of really great information here today, Terri. And I had one question that's come a couple of times, and it's a simple one, but I think it would resonate with a lot of people. What is the number one mistake you see in consultations? Right. So just 101. What's that thing?
Honest to God, everyone they give too many options. They talk they talk a lot and they throw up. They literally, someone says they have wrinkles and fine lines, and then they're like, we can get Botox and fillers and a laser. And then what about the microneedling? They just give too much. I'm telling you, let this resonate with you. A confused mind won't buy. It won't. So if you ask the right questions and you are, as the provider, listen, it can be the Mac Daddy. It could literally be surgeries, halo. I don't care what it is, right? It could be the most expensive thing. But if you think that that is what's going to get the patient the outcome they want, that is all you have to do. And now with using RepeatMD and the treatment plan and the beauty bank and the money, people can afford to do it. The problem is we start stepping down from what's the right thing to do, offering the cheap thing to do, and don't explain that it might take, 6 months and not one time, and they're going to spend the same amount of money. So that is the biggest mistake. Just be factual and diligent with what you're recommending.
Yeah, I mean, super solid advice. And I think it doesn't matter the vertical that you're in, the sales or situation you're in. Like, choice can be a friction point, right? And this is the other thing. I listen to this and remember, you're the expert in your field. They're coming to ask you for advice for what they do, what a patient should do, right? So lean into your expertise and say, this is the best route for you. Don't give them a Teledex or a lot of options, right? Yeah. Own that and be the person that helps this person, your patient, get where you want to get to. All right, Terri, I'm just scrolling through here. Consultation fees, role play.
Somebody asked, I think I saw one, Noel, about...
actually, I just said go.
Yeah, did you see that?
There's been quite a few about Groupon, and I wasn't even quite sure how to approach it. But yes, if you can talk to Groupon, I understand that for a lot of patients, it's an early and easy access point to maybe something they haven't tried to experience before, but it's also challenging for, if you're offering a premium service, you're competing in a very different space. So yeah, I'd love to see your ideas on.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm equally bold and passionate about it. And I use this example. There's a guy in Beverly Hills who charges $150 for a facelift, and across the street is $50,000. And then down the street's 20. And what does anyone perceive is better? The guy that's 150, right? Now, whether he is or not is a different story. This is medicine. And I say it on stage very passionately. If we went to the dentist, to a cardiologist, to an oncologist, if we went to any other medical doctor, your family practitioner, do you get a discount? No, we don't. So why? It's this horribly sad mentality that we're in. See, this is what drives it. This is what drives the commoditization. This is what drives the perception about aesthetics, because we're not in the discounting business. This is medical stuff. It can kill you and do other harm. And so why do we feel the need? If you're that good, again, your education, your schooling, your overhead, your people, it's expensive, and you are worth every single cent, you guys. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to attract the looky-loos. You're going to attract the price shoppers, the people that have no money, the people that want it. When yet Justin just went through, how to bank the money. The buy now, pay later is for real. I mean, I can go buy a pair of Christian Louboutin shoes and they offer me financing. So let's embrace that this is medicine. that you're worth it. And if you want to attract the right kind of people to have a sustainable business, you cannot do any discounting. Offer value added things. Offer, again, I showed you the treatment plan. Add on a mask, give a product for free. Retail should be 20%. The industry is only 6%. Give something of value that introduces your clients to something else. You'll win every time.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, we preach that daily to all of our 3,500 people using RepeatMD. You know, it's don't do discounts, do memberships. You become a member, you get preferential pricing, get other benefits. And the benefits are exponential versus discounting is a one-off. It doesn't build loyalty. It doesn't build anything other than attract a customer, sometimes the wrong customer, and it doesn't really build what ultimately we're trying to build, which is, you know, loyalty, repeat customers, and trust, and everything you've spoken about, that trust, that emotional bond. Discounts don't build that. So, couldn't agree more. I think pretty close. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through all the questions here. Oh, here's an interesting one. We're seeing, first of all, we're seeing AI everywhere, and we're starting to see AI creep into consultations. How do you feel about that? What's your thoughts on that?
So there's probably a little bit more context into that.
There's a lot of context in that. Yeah. I just thought it's a really timely topic. So, yeah.
But I'll say this, AI is not going to replace a human being, but I will say that there are systems on the market, right? That there is a significant percent of leads that come in the middle of the night. Okay. So if we're talking about speed to lead, and there is great value to that too. Every 10 minutes that go by, you lose somebody. So where I see AI being successful in that fashion is that you can train certain systems that have an AI function. You can train it, right? Based on your recommendations within your practice about your hours, a certain price range. I don't ever give a price on the phone. Don't do that. So you can train it to do certain things that will at least help you, one, not lose people at off hours, respond timely. Okay. When you can train it so legit that they don't even know it's AI, by the way. I've seen some great things. So for those reasons, I think it's legit. For those reasons, I think it's very valuable. Otherwise, people, I mean, my God, they don't have systems to listen to their teams on calls or to track conversions. And then I'm like, well, how do you even measure how you're doing? So I think there's value. I think it's going to, evolve over time.
So just for all the audience, that was definitely not a loaded question. It was a genuine question in the chat a couple of times. We are building a AI engine in RepeatMD called Audits, actually.
Listen,
Terri doesn't even know about this. This is how non-loaded this is. Like, this is legit. We are in the process of building AI Audits, which will be part of our application. And for anyone that is a RepeatMD partner and uses our application, you can reload all of your services into the app, and then Adonis will talk your prospective customers through recommended services and then channel you into the practice to discuss them. So, I just thought it was really interesting that this question came up a few times. I wasn't really going to bring it up. And Robin says Adonis is gorgeous. He's a very good-looking man. Yes, he is as well. So,
love it. Well, at least I gave it a thumbs up. Look, it's here to stay, and I think that we need to embrace it. And when you do, again, when we're talking about from what I do is help you guys use these tools to be efficient. Let's look at them in that way, and not as a replacement.
Yeah. Look, we are 20 minutes over time. I think we could probably go for another 20 minutes if we wanted to. But Terri, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who stayed on. Thank you to Justin again. In the background, Elise is instrumental on the RepeatMD team to make this all happen. So thank you, Elise, for everything you've done to make this whole session come to life. And we can't wait for you to come back I think we have another date scheduled for you, Terri. I think it's in a month and a half or something like that, but we can't wait for the next session. So thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who attended. We will send you a copy of this in the next day or two. And if you need any more guidance, reach out to Terri. She will certainly set you straight and really help you with your business.
Elise,
Thank you all.
Justin. Oh, yeah. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Appreciate your time. Talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.